Hey everyone, Carolyn here with Empowered Healing KC. Before I dive in, I just want you to know that this is the first video in a two-part series. So in this one, I'm going to talk about what energetic attachments actually are. Okay, so I'm going to give you all the different examples, what they look like, how they can form, and just kind of how they show up in our daily lives. And then in second video, in part two, I'm going to walk you through a bunch of different ways that you can clear and release these attachments so that you can get all of your energy back to yourself and you can feel more balanced. Okay, so have you ever noticed that after hanging out with certain people, you might feel super drained, or that you have somebody that you just kind of can't get out of your head, even though you don't want to think about them and you haven't talked to them in a while? So lots of times these are not emotional attachments; they're actually like energetic attachments, and we can clear these energetic attachments. Okay, so these are completely normal. We create them literally anytime we connect with somebody, whether it's emotionally, physically, spiritually, online, with somebody in a specific place, a whole group of people, watching the news, through this video. Some of these attachments are totally healthy and they help us grow. And they're important. And then some leave us feeling not so good, right? Heavy, stuck, disconnected from ourselves. And we want to clear those. So my goal in this video is to help you recognize what these different attachments might look like or feel like, and how we kind of get them. And then you can understand your energy better and you can know when something needs to be cleared. Again, I'm going to dive into the how to clearing in part two. So if you already know all these, you can go ahead and skip to that one. But for here, I'm just giving you an overall awareness and just an overview of these different things and people and places and interactions that can be making us feel a certain way in the way that these people are attaching to us. We're talking about emotional cords, karmic ties, hitchhikers from the spirit world. I just kind of want to give you guys an overall understanding of how sensitive our energy really is and how there are so many different ways that we're picking up on other people's energies and emotions. And when you can become aware of these things, it will honestly like relieve some stress and give you so much more understanding to your own thoughts and to your own feelings. So, energetic cords. Energetic cords are invisible energetic links formed through emotional connections, sexual intimacy, and repeated interactions. So these cords are one of the most common forms of energetic attachments. Literally just think of an invisible piece of yarn connected from you to another person. So we can form dozens and dozens in a single day, literally just through interacting with people. We do this emotionally, physically, in passing. Every conversation we have, whether it's text message, social media, an actual phone call, moments of eye contact, everything that we do, it can literally be an energetic exchange, and it is an energetic exchange between us and another person. And these can create cords. So these cords can act like little threads that just kind of connect us to somebody else's field. And lots of times we have these with people that we're really close to, romantic partners, friends, family, right? Like these cords tend to be thicker and stronger because they're kind of cords that we like to have, right? They're cords that we knowingly put out there. They're cords that we accept. Cords that are literally just a part of who we are as a person because these are our close-knit relationships. So we are obviously more energetically connected to those people. But the thing is, sometimes these cords can start to feel heavy or clinging or draining, right? So how do you know if you have these cords? Well, does somebody keep popping into your head randomly? Do you feel what they are feeling? That's a huge one. We're not talking basic empathy. We're talking like, okay, yeah, these aren't my feelings. I shouldn't be processing these. Also, you might feel anxious, sad, or drained after thinking about them, or you just kind of feel tired or just uneasy maybe after being around them. You also can feel tied to somebody long after the contact stops, right? Like they're still in your energy. You kind of just like have this feeling and this awareness of them. So again, some of these cords are very loving and supportive cords, and then some again are very heavy, clean, and draining. So either way though, these are one of the most frequent forms of energetic attachments that we experience. And even if we are living in a space with somebody and we are going to have constant cords and connections, sometimes we have to pause and realize, okay, I do need to, in fact, release all of these cords from this person, pull all of my energy back, and separate ourselves. That way we can really be in tune with our own emotions and our own feelings. So, more often than not, we see these kind of becoming more jumbled with people that we care about, people that we're close to. And so they're not as obvious as the negative ones or the ones that just don't feel as good or just the ones that were kind of like, ugh, I'm done with that. Like, why is that person still in my head type energy? So again, these are energetic cords, just basic energetic cords. Energetic hooks or swords. Energetic hooks or swords are when somebody projects energy into your field intentionally or unconsciously through anger, jealousy, or obsession. So, although these are similar to our energetic cords, hooks and swords are a little bit different. So, these usually come with more of a negative or an uncomfortable intention attached to it. Again, it doesn't even mean that it's consciously done by the other person. But I want you to think about gossiping about you, talking bad about you, resenting you, even like obsessing over you. So these can include somebody who feels jealous of your success, a person sending negative thoughts or wishes towards you, somebody trying energetically to control or influence you, even people attempting harmful energy work or spells, people that are wishing for your downfall, naysayers, people who are projecting onto you, all of these things, okay? It's like their words or emotions become sharp and attach into your aura, right? So think of it like because they're sharper and harder, they're literally hooking into you. Or when they're throwing their energy at you. So they're throwing a dagger. Swords in tarot represent air signs that represents communication, right? So think of a negative communication about you and a sword has been energetically thrown into your energy field from this person. So it's like their words or emotions become sharp and attach into your aura, and it can feel like tension in your chest or your stomach, anxiety that comes out of nowhere, feeling drained after you're hearing your name in the wrong crowd, feeling some type of way after reading something about yourself on social media or a text message or after a friend conveys something to you. Also, energetically, remember that our front is the future and our back is the past. So, lots of times in energy work, we can feel these in our field, kind of like a cool air, even. Or if you have back problems chronically over the year, feel it. It is a way of carrying other people's energy on your back. So, we're carrying the energy these people have thrown to us. So these hooks and swords are usually created from a low vibration emotion. And unlike some of our energetic cords, these are definitely not invited. Soul contracts. So soul contracts are deeper karmic or spiritual bonds that feel hard to break even after physical distance or a great time apart. Soul contracts are the connections that just feel bigger than you. These can show up as soulmates or karmic relationships, and often they are people who just repeatedly come back into your life. These are often the kinds of relationships where you say, why can't I shake this? Why does this feel so deep? Why does this keep coming back? Where is the lesson in this? I know better with this person, so why can't I do better? Why do I let this person cross my boundaries? Why can't I move past this? These are the types of attachments that you might talk about in therapy. These are the things that just feel deeply embedded into who you truly are. There's usually a lesson or transformation that are tied to these types of bonds as well. If you want to dive deeper into this, I actually have a separate video that fully explains the difference of soulmates versus karmic relationships. There's also a script there on how you can release these when you're ready. But do take note that soulmate relationships and connections often feel good and light. and the karmic ones tend to feel a little deeper and cut a little harder and be a little more intense. Dreamwalking astral attachments. Dreamwalking or astral attachments is when somebody enters your dreams or energetic space during sleep or even meditation. When we're asleep, we're not fully grounded in our physical body, and our higher self actually can travel through the astral plane, aka the ethers. Our dreams can be premonitions, messages from the subconscious, or even somebody else actually connecting with us energetically. I like to call these when somebody dream walks or walks into our dreams. So we can dream of a specific person repeatedly. We can feel like that person in our dream is just very visibly present. They can be very emotional or intimate encounters that feel very real. They can take place in familiar places. It's almost like you feel like you're awake or really having the interaction. And when you wake up, often you'll feel some type of way about that person, or you might hear from them that day. This can also be a person visiting you in meditation. Often we do get visits from passed on loved ones in spirit or guides or angels in meditation. But also when we open up that space, sometimes other people and entities can attach in because we have opened up our energy field in the meditation. So because our defenses are down at night and we're more open during meditations, it is important to be mindful of energetic boundaries during sleep and when you are calling in energies through meditations, especially if certain people show up too often and they're not invited into your space. Ancestral or family attachments. Ancestral or family attachments are energies passed down through lineage that influence our emotions and or behaviors. Do take note that these are very different than energetic cords that we simply have between family members. These types of attachments have become a lot more spoken about in recent years because there is this idea that our current generation is breaking the cycles of ancestral trauma and breaking old unhealthy family attachments. Remember too that these attachments do not have to simply come from our parents. They can come from our grandparents, our great grandparents, family members that we never met from centuries ago. Basically, these are traumas and beliefs and fears that have been passed down through the bloodline that are not ours to continue to carry. So I'm going to give you an example from my own life. My dad's biological mother, a woman that I never met, had a lot of trauma, and she passed this trauma on to my father. My father's birth story was also very traumatic, and that got passed down to me. There is an emotional imprint flowed through this family line. I, even as a small child, had an awareness and a connection to my biological grandmother that I did not know. And I learned later in life, lots of the feelings, emotions, and fears that I had actually stemmed from her experiences and my father's experiences. But when we heal these attachments, it's often said that we help release the same burden for our past and future generations. Past life connections, karmic. So past life connections, or what some people like to call karmic connections, are unresolved energies carried over from previous incarnations or lifetimes that resurface in this lifetime or in current relationships. Past lives can deeply influence our personalities and relationships now. Everything from the people we're drawn to or uncomfortable around can literally be tied to other lifetimes. This can show up as habits that feel unexplained. Maybe you're naturally drawn to certain foods, styles, cultures, or career, even though you weren't raised around them. You might have mannerisms, speech patterns, or emotional reactions that don't match your environment. You can have skills you never formally learned, like playing an instrument naturally, knowing how to read people, navigating intuitively, or picking up spiritual tools quickly. Sometimes we're passionate about hobbies or trades we've never been exposed to because we mastered them somewhere else in another lifetime. Another example would be irrational fears like water, drowning, heights, fire, tight spaces, or certain animals. And you can't trace where the fear came from. Some people believe maybe those are ways that we died in past lives or were hurt. Also, strong attachments or attractions or even repulsion to certain people. Those immediate, I know you feelings, or an intense discomfort with no explanation, they usually can come from unresolved connections before this lifetime. Even the fear of a certain group of people can be because they harmed you in a previous lifetime. Or maybe the love and affection for a certain group of people that you do not belong to anymore in this life because you did in a past one. Another one is deep emotional reactions that don't match the situation. So, feeling overly sad, angry, protective, or afraid in situations that might seem minor can be energy stemming from another life. So, again, maybe we died a certain way in another life, and now that fear surrounds us strongly in this lifetime. Maybe we lived as another gender or race and we carry wisdom or wounds from that timeline. Maybe we lost somebody suddenly and now we become anxious about abandonment in this life. Maybe we were persecuted and now we hesitate to speak up or be seen. That's the witch wound. A lot of people have that. We can release these negative emotional charge of these attachments while still keeping the gifts and wisdom that they give us. Energetic imprints or residue. Energetic imprints or residue are leftover emotional energies from being in a shared environment or intimate space or even after a conflict. This is a huge one. Everything holds energy. Your home collects energy from guests, workers that come in and out, arguments that you literally have on the phone while sitting in your living room, stress, intimacy. Our home collects all of this. And the objects inside our home carry energy as well. Think about bringing something home from a thrift store, an antique store, or a garage sale. It's carrying the energy of the person in the place that it previously was. Think about inherited belongings, absolutely carrying the energy of our loved ones. Even gifts from others, they carry the energy of that person. Out in the world, going into restaurants, churches, theaters, schools, all of these places hold huge energetic footprints, huge emotional footprints. Think of all of the people that have been in those spaces, sat in those seats, laid in those hotel beds. People leave an energetic residue, an emotional imprint everywhere they go. There's even some really extreme examples of this. Think about how people go to paranormal investigations at old jails and they sit in the execution chair. Talk about an energetic imprint that I personally want nothing to do with. Touring the old prison or the old asylum itself, the energy of not just the people there, but the things that happened, the experiences, they're still in that space. Even rooms filled with grief, fear, or trauma. I don't know about you guys, but as somebody that's very sensitive, when I go to estate sales, I make sure to extra ground and shield myself. And there are certain spaces in the home that are off limits to me. I do not go into the bathrooms at estate sales. And pretty often, I don't even go into the closets because there is so much emotional energy being held in those spaces that it's just too much for me. So we are picking up residue constantly without even realizing it. So, although energetic cords are the most common things we feel with people, this type of energetic attachment is just as important because it is everywhere that we go. Also, why it's very important that when you're bringing items into your home, you're clearing them. And after you have people in your home, you're clearing them. Again, in the second part to this video, we will talk about ways that you can clear the energy from these items or clear yourself when you get home so you can call your energy back to yourself and feel safe again. Entity or spirit attachments. Entity or spirit attachments are non-human energies that latch onto weakened or open energetic fields. Some people actually call these hitchhikers. Think about it. They're literally hitchhiking in your energy and riding along with you. So I want you to think of things like ghosts, spirits who haven't crossed over, passed on humans stuck in between dimensions. Also, don't let this scare you. Please don't let this scare you. This can include elemental beings, extraterrestrial consciousness, other energies not living in the physical 3D. Even think about elementals like fairies and elves. These attachments can form when somebody is emotionally vulnerable because we let our guard down and energetically we're just more open. Oftentimes, spirits are just really drawn to light. So, if you're a light worker, an empath, somebody who shines bright, somebody who even could be a water sign in your rising, in your first house, like a Cancer rising, you just energetically are more open and draw attachments and energies. Think of a moth to the light. Also, think about these being energies that are still around because they haven't moved into the 5D or the light or gone to heaven. So these energies that are kind of hanging out earthbound are hitchhiking or attaching to people. Personally, I work as a medium, which means I'm connecting with the energy of people in spirit. So I have to be extra careful that when I'm doing that, that I clear myself after so these energies are not attaching to me. I also want to warn you to be very cautious in the community of spirituality, the metaphysical world, the witchy world, all of that, for people who try to scare you by saying that you have demonic entities or negative attachments. We are control in the dimension that we live in, and we are in the 3D, and these energies and entities are not from here. We have the power to release and let go of these energies and entities. They do not control us. So please do not let the fear mongering about the negativity and the negative energies scare you. And again, watch the second part of this video so you can clear these things. Collective or group energy attachments, empathy. Collective or group energy attachments, or being highly empathetic, is when you absorb the energy of a workplace, friend group, or social collective. This attachment is massive for intuitives and empaths. These feelings can show up as feeling everybody's grief at a funeral, absorbing the anxiety of a waiting room, taking on family stress in a household, emotional overwhelm during tragedies in the news. It can be very confusing because your body feels the emotions so strongly that often you're asking yourself, is this mine or is this somebody else's? So this is when you know when you're plugged into the collective field. A lot of people that are very sensitive in this way make it a point to not put themselves in situations where they know it's going to be hard for them to not absorb the group or the collective energy. This means that sometimes you might not go to a funeral because it's too much for you. You turn off the news because it's too much for you. Personally, I used to experience a lot of anxiety at a specific doctor's office because I could feel everybody's energy in the waiting room, that I had to start asking to be set in a separate room so my blood pressure wasn't high. My blood pressure that was completely normal would go up in this specific doctor's waiting room because I wasn't aware that I was actually feeling the anxiety of other people, because personally, I'm not anxious about the doctor. So you tend to know if you're this type of person, and I highly encourage you to learn about grounding, shielding, and just protecting your energy overall and making sure that you are doing those things before you go into collective groups or spaces. I do want to add that this can also be a very positive thing when you go into beautiful spaces. You can go into a wedding and you can feel the love and the joy and the excitement of everybody there. You can also feel some of the sadness of the single people, just saying. Or you might go to a concert and you might be able to feel just the joy and the passion and the drive. And often, when you experience these kind of attachments, when you leave these groups of people, you either feel extra heightened or extra drained. So, this is also something that can affect introverts or extroverts or ambiverts, even in different ways. I am an extrovert. I refuel by being around other people. Other people energize me. But because I feel the collective and the group energy of other people, I need alone time to clear other people's energies and to not be energized by other people. I need to be alone so I can be with my own energy. Okay, so now that you understand the different types of energetic attachments, maybe you've recognized some of these in your life. I hope it's kind of bringing like a sense of awareness to you about what's happening in your own energetic field. I hope that you were like, oh, yeah, this makes sense now, you know? So remember that these attachments, they don't mean anything is wrong with you. Okay, this is totally normal. We all have them. And honestly, to be aware of them is going to be really, really helpful for you. Especially when you notice that they start to make you feel drained, they start to feel really heavy, or they just no longer align with where you're headed, right? It just means that you're connected. It's not a bad thing. If you are curious how to release these attachments, then that is what part 2 of this video is for. Okay. It is just safe, effective, easy, simple ways that you can release these attachments. There's visualizations, there's, using smoke, there's setting boundaries. There's a lot of different options out there. So I appreciate you for spending this time with me. If this resonates with you, if you think it would resonate with somebody else, please share it with your sensitive friends, with your empathetic friends, with your friends that you just know carry a lot. I want you to remember that your energy is sacred and you are allowed to call your energy back to yourself. You are allowed to be protective of your.
Oh, this is Jamie, Carolyn's editor. Something's happening with the sound. We don't know what, but what I know for sure is it is okay for you to call your energy back to yourself, and make sure you go watch part 2 because I edited that too. Whoop.